Hi, this is Delegate Patrick Hope, welcoming you back to our 6th week of legislative updates from Thomas Jefferson's Capitol in Richmond. We finally reached crossover, the halfway point of the General Assembly session, when each chamber finishes its own bills and hears bills from the other chamber. The budget bill is the lone exception that doesn't have to be complete yet. That has to be done by Sunday. Major agreements have come together around raising the felony threshold and reducing red tape in certain departments. The first half of the session has been a whirlwind of committee meetings where we dispose of bills that don't match our agenda, they either cost too much, or they're just unneeded. Nearly 54% of the 2,600 bills have been killed for the year, but plenty remain. We believe we have tentative agreements around Medicaid expansion and reversing the 2015 rate freeze for Dominion Energy, two of the highest profile issues this year. First, on the Dominion bill, they asked lawmakers to adopt a reinvestment model in which the company's profits or the amounts they over-earned are used to pay for spending for modernizing the electric grid and building more renewable energy such as wind and solar power. The new system will replace the 2015 law that froze base rates and prevented regulators from issuing customer refunds, which has allowed Dominion and Appalachian Power to pocket tens of millions of dollars that would otherwise be returned to the ratepayers. I voted for the House bill this week because of the historic investments in renewable energy, modernizing our grid, protecting for cybersecurity, and the more than $200 million that's going back to ratepayers. On what I view on the most important topic of the session, however, is Medicaid expansion. Republican leaders in both chambers have signaled a willingness to work with Governor Northam and Democrats on expanding Medicaid to provide health care coverage to more low-income Virginians. But it's unclear right now whether a deal will come together or what form it might take. Most expect the state budget will be the mechanism for any expansion. Our former governor, Terry McAuliffe, proposed a spending plan in December that projects a savings of over $420 million over 2 years due to the expansion of Medicaid. We'll have to find out Sunday when the House and Senate budgets are released to find out if Medicaid expansion was included. Finally, before I leave, I want to express the strong emotions that I'm feeling now about another gun violence tragedy, this time in Florida. As a parent with 3 young children in Arlington Public Schools, this is the kind of tragedy you pray never comes to Arlington or anywhere in this country. It's especially frustrating when legislation is brought year after year to reduce the levels of gun violence that we've seen, and watching those bills being defeated one by one. This year, Virginia Republicans killed a host of bills, including one that would have required a minor to get parental permission before keeping guns in their home. That was sponsored by Delegate Marcia Price of Newport News, after a constituent of hers complained about being unable to take away guns from a child who had fallen in with a bad crowd. Another bill that was sponsored by me would have required licensed home daycare facilities to keep guns locked up while children were being cared for. The bill came, I heard, after a 4-year-old boy in Stafford accidentally shot and killed himself with a gun he found at a daycare. Yet another bill would have let localities forbid the carrying of firearms or ammunition at major public events. That bill was sponsored by Delegate David Toscano of Charlottesville and was a response to last summer's violent white supremacist rally in which militia members dressed like law enforcement and brandished weapons. We can learn from a lot of these tragedies happening all around us. And while we know we can't prevent every episode of gun violence, we know that some of these things, particularly the bills that I mentioned, would have prevented those tragedies. Things like banning bump stocks, banning assault weapons, closing the gun show loophole would have some effect, and it's worth it to keep trying. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Please join me here next week, and as a reminder, you can always contact my office at area code 804-698-1047 or email me at delhope, DELHOPE, @house.virginia.gov. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here next week.